Welcome to a Splatoon 2 video on the channel. So the Octo expansion has been out for more than a week, and last week on the day that the Octo expansion did come out, I did give my first impressions of the DLC. But now that we are more than a week later since the DLC did come out, and now that I have completed all of the 80 levels in the DLC, I want to give my review of the DLC in this video, and I want to give my thoughts on whether I think the DLC is worth the $20 or the £18 that I paid for the DLC. So first of all, I had a lot of fun playing the DLC. I thought the levels, they were really fun. I thought the level design itself, I thought it was really creative. I thought the level design was really great. I really did enjoy playing on those levels. They are really challenging but fun at the same time. I really did enjoy those levels. They are really fun to play, and they offer something different that we don't really have in the single player. Like, these levels, they are quite challenging. They are definitely more challenging than the single player. I would say that the Octo expansion, it can get quite hard in places, especially near the end. It definitely does get really hard. I definitely did struggle on maybe 4 or 5 levels, and it did take me about an hour to beat around about 3 or 4 levels. I think Girl Power, Defend the Orb, that was definitely the hardest level until I did get to the end. I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end, but anybody that does the end bit, that is definitely really hard. So if you haven't bought the DLC yet, but you played the single player in Splatoon 2, expect the Octo expansion to be more challenging than the single player. Expect it to be a lot harder, and expect you to take multiple tries to beat a level. It will get quite frustrating at times, but I can kind of see why they did make the Octo expansion a lot harder. I know a lot of people wanted more of a challenge compared to the single player. And plus, it does make sense in terms of the story. These levels are supposed to be tests. They are supposed to challenge Agent 8. So I can kind of see why they did make the DLC challenging in places. I did struggle on a few levels, but it's not until I got near the end that is when I thought the DLC did get really hard. But yeah, the DLC, it is definitely a lot harder than the single player, and that might take you quite a while to get used to, just because Splatoon hasn't really gone down that route of doing hard levels in terms of the single player. But that is what you will find in Octo expansion. But yeah, I had a blast on the levels. I thought the end bit, how you got different phases, that was really fun to play. So all in all, I had a lot of fun on the DLC, but it definitely can get quite frustrating at times. But yeah, I really do enjoy the levels. I definitely do feel like they are more creative in level design compared to the levels that we did get in the single player. Now, I will make a separate video talking about the story and my thoughts on the lore and what happens in Octo expansion. But the story, it is really good. I really did enjoy it. I thought it was really engaging. I had a lot of fun getting involved with the story, especially during the end. I'm really glad that we got some sort of cutscenes during the end, but I don't want to get too much into that, just because I don't want to go too much into the story, just because I feel like you guys should experience it for yourself. But yeah, I definitely did have a lot of fun playing the story in the Octo expansion. Now, do I think the DLC is value for money? I definitely do. It cost me £18, $20, and you do get a lot for that. You get 80 levels, and you can complete every single level with all of the weapons available to you as well. You don't really get anything for doing that, but that definitely does add to the replayability. Or say, like, if you do skip levels that you do find really difficult, you can go back to them and complete them for yourself. And if you do complete all 80 levels, then you can do something extra at the end. So it does have a lot of replayability value to it, and this Octo expansion will give you a lot more playtime to the game. I have currently put in around about 20 hours into the DLC, just because I made an effort to complete all of the levels myself, just because when you do that, you can unlock Octolink gear when you do get to Inkopolis Square. You can unlock Octolink gear for the multiplayer when you do complete the Octo expansion. So all in all, I had a lot of fun on the DLC. I think it is value for money. I really did enjoy the DLC. If you have bought Splatoon 2, then if you can afford it, then go ahead and pick up the Octo expansion, just because it is a lot of fun. But be prepared for it to be a lot harder than anything else in Splatoon. It will definitely offer you the most challenge in terms of gameplay that Splatoon has offered so far. So expect to be frustrated, expect to take multiple tries to beat a level, but it is really fun, and I would definitely encourage you to buy the DLC. It is really fun, and I can't stress that enough. It pushes the lore forward. You get to see beloved characters in the DLC as well. You get to see backstories for Pearl and Marino, and that is really good. That is really cool to see as a Splatoon fan. So if you are a fan of the Splatoon universe, then seriously, you should pick up the Octo expansion DLC. So yeah, I thought the experience, it was really good. It offers value for money. I just got to do the added secret thing, and that is really frustrating to do. It is really hard. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. You will be seeing me play through the end bit soon on the channel as well. So yeah, it took me about 8 days to complete the DLC, just because I have been watching the World Cup. I'm currently watching a World Cup match right now as I am recording this video. So yeah, it took me quite a while to beat the Octo expansion, just because I was playing through all of the levels myself and I wanted to unlock all of the gear available for me. So yeah, it did take me a while to beat it. It did take me a while to beat the final boss as well. So yeah, my main advice for you is, if you are a fan of the universe, then you need to pick up the DLC, just because the lore details alone, that is, you know, value for money. And plus the cutscenes that we do get, and all of the backstory details we do get for Pearl and Marina as well. So yeah, I think you should pick up the DLC. I think it is value for money. But that is pretty much it for my review. I will be discussing my thoughts on the story. Like what I said before, I thought the story was really cool, and I will be discussing that in its own separate video soon. But that is it for this video, and on the channel you will get to see me do the final boss phases, and that was really cool to do. I didn't expect that to happen. For me, the final boss in the Octo expansion is better than the final boss that we got in Splatoon 1. It is the best final boss that we have so far in Splatoon. So that is reason for itself to pick up the DLC. But that is pretty much it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about the DLC in the comment section below. I am really sad that I have completed the Octo expansion, just because I've got nothing in terms of the single player to do apart from the end bit, like the secret end bit. So I'm a little bit sad that I have completed the story, just because I love the story within Splatoon. I love all of the lore. So I'm really disappointed that I've got nothing to do. I've got nothing to look forward to now in terms of the story. I'll definitely be on board for Nintendo to do more of this sort of thing for Splatoon 2. I'll definitely be on board with Nintendo doing more DLC packs. But yeah, that is it for this video, and I will see you next time.